From the Huntington Bank Studio, this is Colts 360.
We put it on ice! Hey, hold on, wait, come back! Hey, look! Hey, baby boy got his first. Hey, and knock out. Wait a minute, two in the game.
Big Taylor style work. Hey, Taylor ball work.
Got that dub. Hold on. On to the next. Woo!
Big dub. Thank you, Colts Nation. Let's keep it popping. Keep pounding.
Oh, divisional game. You already know what time it is.
We won.
Ha!
It's always good to win at home.
Aye.
Big dub. Big win. Division dub.
We're back at it. Came in. We started off hot. Then it got shaky. But we got the job done. That's all that matters, baby. 1-0. Bye.
The Colts climbing to even on the season after winning back-to-back games at home. I'm Lara Overton, and this is Colts 360. The Colts will look to keep that November win streak alive as they return to Buffalo, where their 2020 season ended with a playoff loss to the Bills. But before we talk about that upcoming game this weekend, Colts Productions takes you into all the action for that divisional win against Jacksonville.
You know how the divisional games are. It's going to be 4 quarters, all 60 minutes.
And we are underway. The Colts have a chance to get back to 5-5 after beginning the year 0-3. Taylor up the middle again inside the 20.
This is going to be a 24-yard field goal for Badgley, and it's got plenty of leg, and it is good. And the Colts have the early lead 3-0.
Kwity Paye was applying the pressure on Trevor Lawrence, and it's a 3-and-out for the Jaguars. Jacksonville goes 3-0. Oh, it's blocked! Punt is blocked! Scooped up by the Colts! And it's taken in! Touchdown! Zaire Franklin blocked it, and E.J. Speed scores! Looking to throw. Steps up, finds Robinson, hit immediately and spun down by Franklin. So Zaire Franklin blocked the punt, and now a tackle for a loss.
Colts will hand off to Jonathan Taylor. Full head of steam. There he goes. 40. He's at the 30 and then brought down from the shoe tops. And that's going to be an explosive run of 20 yards for Jonathan Taylor.
Wentz looking for Hines, makes the catch, and he's got the first down.
It's first and goal for the Colts at the 4-yard line. Ball's in the left hash under center Carson Wentz. Takes the snap, hands off to Taylor right side. Full head of steam, lowers his shoulder. He's down to the 2-yard line. Quentin Nelson pushing him towards the goal line, and he's in there. Touchdown! Jonathan Taylor. Touchdown! I-N-D-Y.
Let's go.
We born ready, we more ready, we war ready, it's war. We war ready, we more ready, we born ready for war. I have seen all of this happen before. I feel the fire that burn in my core. I will extinguish your fire and make you expire, and you will not burn anymore. We born ready, we more ready, we war ready, it's war. We war ready, we more ready, we born ready for war. I have seen all of this happen before. I feel the fire that burn in my core. I will extinguish your fire and make you expire, and you will not burn anymore.
Rodgers makes a great break on that ball. This one's leaking right, and it's no good.
They're going to move Manhurts, the tight end, from left to right. Out of the gun is Lawrence. And Lawrence now in trouble, and he's going to go down. That's a sack.
It's a screen to Carlos Hyde. Running away from DeForest Buckner, takes a big hit by Sendejo. Wow. Taylor stalwart with the play for the Colts defense. Pressure coming, rolling right. Wentz throws on the run, deep for Pittman. He's got it.
Let's go take it, fellas. Be aggressive. Here we go.
Back to play after the timeout. Lawrence out of the gun, has it back to his right. Two receivers left and right. Ball in the far hash. He backs the throw out of the gun. The Colts bring in pressure, and they get to him as Lawrence takes off. Lawrence may have lost the ball around the 46-yard line. The Colts think they have a takeaway and a fumble recovery. It's Colts ball! It's Colts ball!
It's a done deal soon as the ink dry. I'll be zooming by before you can blink an eye.
I tried to make sure it was over with. Man, big win, big win. Oh. Feels good, man. Big win, first sack.
Like we always talk about, we trust the process, man. We put it in on the practice field to come out on Sundays, man. You look, man, we gotta keep it rolling now. Y'all already know, believing in each other, we got each other. Let's do it. Yes, sir.
Take them through the games, write down their scores, so I can compare them one to the other. But then what I did, the last test that I gave each one of them was play the same 3 games, but now as you're playing the game, I'm screaming and yelling as loud as I can in your ear.
Coming up, as the Colts head to hostile Buffalo territory, Coach Reich explains the unorthodox method he used to test Carson Wentz's ability to perform under pressure. That's next on Colts 360.
We climbed our way back to 500, right? We climbed our way back to 500, right? It's been a long road to get here, but we know we got the players, the coaches, and everything we need to move on from here. And we know we got a lot in front of us this week. So let's go to work, right? Our same process, like Zaire just said. Let's trust the process. We're going to keep it rolling just like we are and keep fighting to get better. Learn from this film, and let's keep this thing rolling.
Back now on Colts 360 and back in studio with head coach Frank Reich. Coach, we heard right there in the locker room, you mentioned the team climbing back to 500. In what ways are you seeing this team consistently improve week in and week out that indicates the best football is still ahead of you?
I think the key areas, Lara, are situationally, like even the way we finished this game off, that was key. Continuing to establish the fact that we can run the football and stop the run, that's always going to be key. And then defensively, I just really felt like our secondary took a very big step and continues to get better and better. And then offensively, we just need to continue to be able to have in the mix the big play, and because down the stretch, those are the things you need to do to win big games against difficult teams.
And you touched on the run game. This team is 8-0 when Jonathan Taylor rushes for 100 or more yards. Also, JT now has 7 consecutive games with a rushing touchdown. How can you explain how setting up the production in the run game sets the team up for success as a whole?
I think there's something about when you're running the ball like that, you're just establishing a physicality, a dominance. It sets everything up in the play action game as well. You're possessing the ball, you're eating up clock so the other team isn't getting the ball. It does a lot of good things for you.
You mentioned physicality, and it's tough to talk about physicality and not bring up the name Michael Pittman Jr. We have seen Carson Wentz targeting Pitt in critical third down situations. He has become the go-to guy, just like we saw against Jacksonville, saw it a few weeks ago, certainly in San Francisco as well. What has Michael done to emerge as such a force in that capacity?
Make plays, and with every time he makes a big play, Carson goes to him in a clutch situation, he goes up over defenders, makes a play. It just gives him that much more confidence to look for him the next time. And, there's that mentality that the quarterback gets, like, hey, even when he's covered, he's not covered. He's going to find a way to come down with the ball, and I think that's kind of what's going on right now.
This is a very crowded AFC picture in the month of November. You stated that in the post game, and this is a point where the pressure is going to mount. It's almost like playoff football at this point, week in and week out, and certainly the environment you're stepping into this Sunday in Buffalo, one that can certainly be very hostile for opposing offenses. You know this venue very well from your own playing days, and a lot of this comes down to the poise of the quarterback in these type of situations. Back in 2016, when you were with Philadelphia and you were vetting the potential quarterbacks that they were going to draft, you put those quarterbacks through a very specific test in terms of determining how they would handle the pressure. What was that test?
Yeah, Well, I remember I brought him in, and I'll use when Carson came in. You know, they were on my computer, on my desk computer, and I had some brain games, you know, cognitive brain games, and so take them through the games, write down their scores, so I could compare them one to the other. But then what I did, the last test that I gave each one of them was play the same 3 games, but now as you're playing the game, I'm screaming and yelling as loud as I can in your ear, and like, I'm embarrassed to say this, but spit's coming out of my mouth. I'm waving hats and, you know, throwing things in my office, saying all kinds of things, telling them how much of a loser they are. And Carson was the one guy who actually scored higher when I did that. And that just told me something, that, you know, the guy's unflappable. I really think he's unflappable. It doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. It doesn't mean you win every time. But I think that he's got that gene in him.
From what you saw in that occurrence and what you've seen since, how much has that proved to be true about Carson Wentz, knowing him now for several years and coaching him in 2 different franchises?
I still feel that. I feel a confidence, you know, like I feel confidence that when the game is on the line, you know, he wants to step up and make the play. It's not always going to happen. You play quarterback, you're dependent on a whole lot of other things going right. But there's a mentality that you have to have a chance. And he's got that mentality. He's got that mentality. He's not afraid, and he believes he's going to win. And that's a good starting point.
There is a fearlessness also within your defense right now. 11 straight games that this defense has forced a turnover. In particular, with this dynamic Bills offense you're going up against this weekend, how opportunistic does your defense have to be with the takeaways?
I mean, it's going to be critical. You know, you're going in a hostile environment against a very talented offense. So we got to keep that streak alive. And the way you keep it alive is, first of all, talent. You know, we got talent on our defensive roster, and then the hustle that we have. You know, because you're to get to the ball, and the consistency of doing it, and just the speed at which we have to play. Those all factor into it, and it's always a challenge every week. We never take it for granted. That's one thing I love about our defense. They're fighting and scratching and clawing every week, and certainly be important this week.
Defensively, breakout games for your 2 rookies, Kwity Paye and Dio Adangbo. 2 very different circumstances when I asked those guys about the sacks. First career sacks for each of those guys. Dio said it felt like, just with what he'd been up against coming back from the injury, he could not have imagined being in a position to make that type of play as soon as he was able to into this rookie season as he came back off the Achilles injury, whereas Kwity said, I felt like it was a long time coming. I felt like that week in and week out I was getting consistent pressure, but I wasn't hitting the home run. How just satisfying was it to see each of those guys get that opportunity and emerge, kind of prove what they're able to bring to your defense? Very
satisfying. I mean, for all of us, I'm sure it was really satisfying for Chris Ballard too, right? I mean, having those 2 guys get their first sack on that same game together, and it being so significant in the win. So I think the good news is they're just getting started. I mean, these guys, they know how to work. They have the right mindset. They're unselfish. They're team players. So I think there's a lot of good things ahead.
You, as we mentioned, well-versed in playing games in Buffalo. We're into that tricky middle of November, late November type of weather. It's been certainly cold in Indy. Looks like there could be some elements and some conditions in Buffalo, maybe some precipitation, sleet, rain, potential of snow. What did you do this week to implement and get your guys ready? I know you've been practicing in it all along, but a little bit different this week.
Yeah, I mean, we will. We'll, practice outside in it. Hope that we get some of the similar elements. And really just mentally be prepared for anything. The one thing about that stadium, which is usually true, is there's usually a little bit of wind. There's usually always a little bit more wind there than most people realize. So, but a great place to play, whether you're home or away, great football town. So really look forward to going back to Orchard Park to play some football.
How fresh is it in the minds of the guys who were here last year? The playoff loss that was there and that motivation carrying into this week?
There's no doubt it's fresh. I mean, it was such a big game and such an incredible game, last year in the playoffs. I mean, I think we're far enough into the season, okay, it's a whole new deal. But there's no doubt, I think we all left that stadium with an empty feeling. Like we had an opportunity to win a playoff game on the road against a very hot team. And we just kind of left it out there. So I'm sure that'll provide a little extra motivation for everyone.
Certainly tons of motivation going into this week in Buffalo for your team, looking to stack those November wins. Coach, certainly appreciate the time. Thanks so much. Good luck on Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Larry.
You know, they're a talented team, we're a talented group too. Just looking forward to a great battle. It's probably going to be a very, much like playoff atmosphere out there, big game late in November. So, just looking forward to the matchup.
Still ahead, Zaire Franklin on new opportunities, another chance against the Bills, and also becoming a new dad next year. That's coming up on Colts 360.
Great job in all three phases, right? We started off the right way. Hey, early in the week, I guess Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember which day it was, we're out there practicing one day, and I see Bubba's losing his mind because he's got our special teams doing punt block drills. I mean, we're doing drills blocking punts because he knew someone was going to get it, and we didn't know who was going to get it. But game ball to Zaire Franklin.
Hey man, hey look. It's like we always talk about, we trust the process, man. We put it in on the practice field. It come out on Sundays, man. You look, man, we gotta keep it rolling now. Y'all already know, believing in each other, we got each other. Let's do it.
Straight from that locker room celebration you just saw, Zaire Franklin got the game ball after the win against Jacksonville, rightfully so, as you set up that blocked punt touchdown for E.J. Speed. Then E.J. Speed became AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Is the game ball better or worse than Special Teams Player of the Week? Does E.J. owe you a little bit of that recognition here?
Oh man, E.J. don't owe me anything. I'm just happy one of the guys got it. I told E.J. I was proud of him for picking it up. I tried to get it up. The ball got a little slippery off the foot, but game ball, Player of the Week. Look, we both got recognition. That's all that matters.
Have you found a spot for the game ball? Where is it living in the house yet?
Not yet. I mean, we're still trying to work through where the baby stuff is going to be. So probably the game ball, blocking the punt, my first block punt of my career, right next to my son. That sounds about right. Huh?
I love that. It is like a baby boom, too, in this locker room. Rigo Sanchez and his wife, Cynthia, just welcomed a daughter. Carson Wentz and his wife, Maddie, welcomed a second daughter. You got to hold it down because I think you're the lone expecting a boy here at the first of the year, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Kings make kings. So I'm looking forward to raising a young king.
and we needed to balance things out with all of these girls that we have coming now. Ryan Kelly expecting a girl, Mark Glowinski. What's in the water around here?
I don't know, whatever it is. Hopefully my next one's a girl, though. I like to balance it out.
Well, talking about being on Colts time this weekend, you're going back to Buffalo for the first time since that playoff loss that ended your season last year. How fresh is the result of that game?
I mean, it's definitely on our mind. That's all you can think about once you start talking about the Buffalo Bills. They brought everybody back. We got a lot of the similar pieces as well. So, they're a talented team. We're a talented group too. Just looking forward to a great battle. It's probably going to be a very, much like playoff atmosphere out there. Big game late in November. So, just looking forward to the matchup.
I loved something that Coach Reich said after the win against Jacksonville. He said, no one has taken really command of the AFC. Why not us? We have an opportunity to stack these wins against quality opponents in the month of November. How much do you treat each week from here on out essentially as must win?
Big games, in November and December is like we always talk about is what we play for. And, since we had that slow start, finally getting back to, 500, every game is a must-win. Every game is a big game, and when you play an AFC team, they count as double. So, big game we got this week in Buffalo.
All right, couple of quick hitter questions to wrap this up. Best advice you've gotten in the NFL?
Ooh, run your own race. In the NFL, there's so many different things that's going on. There's so many highs and lows. You end up losing when you start looking at what the next guy is or isn't doing. Just run your race, be the best person that you can be.
Favorite NFL memories so far?
That's tough. I would probably say it's a tie between playoff game at Kansas City rookie year. That was pretty great. And I trained in Seattle. Always competed against Bobby Wagner. So this year, opening game, me being able to meet him at the captain's coin toss was kind of like a culmination. I met him when I was still training for the draft, and he was like, oh, what you projected to get drafted? What was you all ACC and all that other stuff? So it's like I earn respect in the league to kind of meet him eye to eye as a peer. So he's a great guy. That's a mentor of mine. So that was a great feeling for me as well.
Love that. One more for you. If you could play one game at any other position, what position would you pick?
I definitely want to play receiver. You know, I feel like receivers just have so much fun. They just out there just shaking and baking, catching the ball. They look all cool or something like that. That or a nickel like Kenny.
Oh, yeah. Who wouldn't want to be like Kenny, Mr. Lightning in a bottle? You got the hands for it?
Yeah, I think I do.
Well, thank you for spending part of your weekend with us. A special thank you to our guests in studio, head coach Frank Reich, and of course, linebacker and special teams captain Zaire Franklin. Have a great weekend. Colts at Bills, 1 o'clock kickoff in Buffalo.
Peace.